Hello everyone, welcome back to Cellopedia. This is Maxim. In today's lesson, we will continue working on cello method by Alfredo Piatti. In today's lesson, we will warm up with G major scale and we will learn together three wonderful etudes by Kummer. We will talk about cantilena, how to sing on cello. We will try to make long, smooth shifts to harmonics. We will talk about bow distribution and string crossings. A lot of good stuff to learn today. So let's start playing. And now let's play G major arpeggio, one note per bow. Don't forget to remind yourself, you need to relax and breathe when you play. Was it enough for you to warm up and feel relaxed and confident? If not, play this scale and arpeggio few more times. And then you will be ready to play the etude number 6. This etude by Kummer has one very important word at the beginning, cantilena. What is it? Cantilena usually refers to long, smooth, connected melody. It also reminds me an Italian word cantare, to sing. We all heard that when you play a string instrument, it should sound as if a person is singing. That's what we are going to do now. We will use as much bow as possible for each bow stroke. We will make sure that when we play, we also don't forget to breathe. You might think, well, of course, I breathe when I play. I need to breathe. So we often take it for granted. And this is one of mistakes we are all making. It's not enough just to breathe. You have to be in control of that. You have to pay attention to that when you are playing, especially when you play long connected melodies. We will make sure we'll take a deep breath before starting. Then you exhale with me and let's play it together. This is such a relaxing melody. Well, you might not feel like this when you play it first time. So let's see what kind of challenges we might need to overcome playing this piece. Counting. Well, it's in the 6/8. It's the best to play it with the metronome. And just paying attention to the difference between dotted quarter note and a quarter note. It might be obvious, but remember, you have to deal with this rhythm in real time. Pay attention to the rhythm in the third measure of this etude, when you have quarter note tied with an extra 16th note. Counting works like this. We count every 8th note, and you should play this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do it one more time together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the same measure, you will have to pay attention how you make a shift to harmonic. It would make sense to do it a couple of times without the right hand. Left hand only. Try it, and your goal has to be to slide from the first position to harmonic with one smooth motion. After you've done it several times, let's do it together with both hands. And we have this similar spot in the fourth line, when you go from C to A. Remember that it makes sense to try it without the right hand. And when you do it, make sure that you make a smooth and very relaxed shift. I suggest to start from the beginning of the fourth line. You might notice that very interesting thing is happening. When you play this harmonic, and you lift your left hand to make a shift back, harmonic keeps making sound. You might use this to make sure that you don't rush getting back to the first position. It only works if your bow is fairly close to the bridge. So it's always a good idea to play all harmonics as close to the bridge as possible without making scratchy sul panticello sound. In the same measure, beginning of the fourth line, you have to take care of the bow distribution. That is, you have to have enough bow to use for 3 notes slurred together. Make sure that you play first 3 eighth notes of the fourth line in such a way that you end up being very close to the tip of the bow. This way you will have the whole bow to spend for those 3 slurred notes. If you forget about this, then you will end up having much less bow available, and it might make it very difficult to play. Last two measures, you have pizzicato chords. I talked at length about pizzicato in previous lesson, number 19, how to play pizzicato. But in short, you can play 3 notes together using thumb for the bass note, index finger for the middle note, and middle finger for the top note. When you have 4 notes, usually I would suggest to use thumb strumming 2 strings in quick succession, and fingering for the top 2 strings is still index finger and middle finger. You can also play those chords arpeggiato. But usually it would have to be marked in a special way in music. So since we don't see arpeggiato mark here, I think the proper way to play it would be to play all those notes together as much as possible. And now I will play this etude for you in a faster tempo. I will be counting by dotted quarter notes. Our tempo will be 40 beats per minute. Of course, you can set the metronome to 120. That will show you the speed of the 8th notes. But when you try to play connected smooth melodies, you don't want to think of or hear too many beats from the metronome. So to make a smooth line, you usually need to think about larger beats. This is why I would suggest to count this etude in dotted quarter notes. I hope you didn't forget to breathe and try to relax as much as possible. Easy to say, hard to do. Keep that in mind when you are working on music like this, and little by little you will get used to that. Etude number 7 gives us another challenge. bowings. You have to pay attention which notes you connect and which notes you have to change bow direction. And it is changing through this etude. So, besides taking care of shifts and paying attention to your sound, you will have constantly double checking bow directions. As always, the best way to learn it is to start with a slow tempo, giving yourself enough time for everything. Let's play it quarter note 60. How did it go? This is quite difficult etude. Maybe at first you need just to make sure that you learn shifts well. For instance, in the second line, you have to train yourself to make good shifts to the fourth position. I would suggest just to play one note before the shift and a shift itself. So, in the first measure of the second line, we have to make a shift to G. So, it would make sense to play D and then G and make it as many times as you need to feel confident. If you hear that you missed a shift, try not to correct it right away, but rather remember which way you have to correct it. In other words, if you make a shift a bit lower, say, for example, if you play G a bit lower, try not to move the finger to correct it. This way, you will not learn anything. You will just learn how to correct it, but you cannot really practice this way. You need to remember, okay, I made this shift a bit lower. Next time I'm going to aim higher. And it will sound like this. First couple of times I will deliberately make a shift lower. it might not be the way you think it should go. So our instinct is to correct the note right away. But this way to practice will definitely help you in the long term. After you work on all shifts, then add bowings again and try to play in a slower tempo with your new acquired skill to make these shifts and with all attention to bow direction. And now I will play this etude for you in a faster tempo, quarter note 92. The etude number 8, well, you see bunch of 16th notes and they look intimidating. They don't have to be this way. First of all, you are in control of tempo. Make them slow. Play them one note per bow. Once you learn them well in a slower tempo, then you can try to play it in a faster tempo, and chances are that you will succeed. For instance, as a preparatory exercise, I would suggest to play it this way, and I'll play first few measures. This way, you will take care of the left hand and you will get good idea how much you have to turn the bow when you move from higher to the lower string. We talked about this at length in the previous lessons. Just to remind you that each string has a very specific angle. And the highest string, A string, should get this angle when the bow is right in between of those corners, right in between of C bout, and then you gradually change the angle. So from here you go to there. Now let's play this etude in the tempo 8th note 60. there are other challenges to overcome in this etude. Bowings and bow distribution. What is that, bow distribution? Well, it's about your technique, how much bow you spend for each bow stroke. Let's look at the very first measure of this etude number 8. Here you have down bow stroke, which will last 1/4 note, and up bow stroke, which will last 2/4 notes. 4/16 notes and a quarter note make together 2/4 notes. How to deal with that? You will have to spend first quarter note playing with much faster bow speed. Basically, twice as fast as up bow, which will have to last 2/4 notes. If you forget to change bow speed, then you run out of bow very soon. So the usual mistake in music like this, to spend too much of the bow playing first 4/16 notes. And then you have nothing left for the remaining quarter note. Try to save as much bow as possible when you change bow direction to up bow. This way you will save enough bow to play a quarter note in the first measure. Playing the first quarter note with a faster bow speed will naturally make it louder, which is a good thing for measures like the first, second, or third measures, because the first quarter note is the downbeat of the measure, which is supposed to sound a bit louder. Well, it will change to the opposite in the second measure of the second line, when you have to spend 2/4 notes playing down bow and just 1/4 note playing up bow. It's a bit harder to do. Well, of course you have to save the bow at the beginning of the bow stroke, down bow, but it seems to be quite obvious. You still have many 16th notes to play. But the single quarter note up bow shouldn't be too loud, because that's the third beat of the measure, which cannot be too loud. Try to use lighter touch. And when you move the bow faster, you have to train yourself to avoid excessive pressure on the string. Compare to obviously, the second way doesn't work well for music, because it makes the third beat way louder. So these are just few ideas about things you can work on playing this etude. And now let me play it for you in a faster tempo, quarter note 92. Thank you for staying with me. Look, we reviewed how to play G major scale, learned 3 wonderful etudes, paying attention to different things. Working on every etude makes you better. But there is one condition. You have to know what you're working on. Just playing through might not be enough. Make sure that every minute you are practicing, you know what you are working on. You have a goal. It doesn't have to be very complicated. It could be just making a shift right, or learning to pay attention to the bow angle, or remembering how to breathe. Once you get used to fill your practicing time with different tasks, your practice time will become way more productive. Thank you for watching. Come back for more lessons from Cellopedia.